How are we doing, everybody? Sam here, United People's TV, hopefully live on Facebook and YouTube. It's Friday. Happy feelings all round. It's a catchphrase I've said once, which unfortunately is sticking. But today is all about David Luiz. Hopefully this is all working and you all can hear me. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments as always. But let's get straight into the main story, because today is all about David Luiz. Because David Luiz has been heavily linked with a move to Manchester United. He's on all the back pages today. The Daily Star and the Express. It's the Express who are leading with it more than any other paper. Now, they're saying that Man United boss Jose Mourinho plans a shock move for Chelsea star David Luiz. Now, would you want Manchester United to sign David Luiz? Let me know in the comments, but let me read through what the story says. They're saying that Luiz has fallen out with Antonio Conte, and that was after he was dropped for the Chelsea United game. That came following criticism from David Luiz about Antonio Conte's tactics. Now, I said, do you want David Luiz at Manchester United? You know, he is a fantastic player for Chelsea at certain points, but is he the right player for Manchester United and what we need going forward? I think everybody will admit that we still need a central midfielder in terms of the depth and the strength of the squad. And you could also argue that we also need a new centre-back, because Victor Lindelof hasn't done it at the moment. Chris Smalling, has he got a future at Manchester United? We don't know. But let's read a few of your comments out and see where your guys and girls are watching us from. We've got Seb Hine watching from Australia, good morning, and Gattuso from Ghana. Got Navid 3 Plays watching from Leicester, and Frederick watching from Sweden. And Fi watching, I'm not sure where you're watching from. David Morwood watching from Cornwall. Good morning to you all. But what do you think about signing David Luiz on YouTube? No, don't sign him. No, says Bonus. Jory says no. Steve Melmore saying he's a dirty bastard. We'll all remember the David Luiz wink when he got Raphael, I think it was, sent off in the corner flag. He's got a bit of a reputation of being a bit of a dirty player on certain occasions, and some games he comes up with the goods, but we just don't know whether or not David Luiz would be a good signing for Man United. Let's see what you guys and girls are saying on Facebook. Sammy saying David Luiz would be a great signing for us. He can play midfield as well. Ugo says Chelsea wouldn't like to sell him. It's also impossible to think that he would be sold. Max and Lowe saying yes, we can have him with us. And Pratik saying I'm not sure. We have a solid defence, and Marcus Rojo is now available with Bailly, Jones, Smalling and Lindelof available. We do not need him. Now, one thing about David Luiz is he is fantastic at bringing the ball out of defence from the back. Now, that is the main reason why I could see why a player like David Luiz could settle in this Manchester United squad, because that's why Victor Lindelof was brought in. So we got Eric Bailly alongside a ball-playing centre-back who would then sort of bring the ball out of defence. I was speaking to Craig before, a big Chelsea fan, and he was saying that is David Luiz's greatest asset. Say you've got, you're playing against a team who are really disciplined and there's not much space. Someone like David Luiz bringing the ball out from the back creates gaps, opens up spaces that can then be exploited. And I think that is a big reason why he could fit in this Manchester United team, because at the moment we don't have a centre-back who is comfortable enough to bring the ball out from the back. Now, Victor Lindelof was signed to be that centre-back, so fingers crossed he can turn it around at Manchester United, and he's still got plenty of time left in his first season. And I'm holding judgment on David Luiz, sorry, not David Luiz, on Victor Lindelof until the end of the year, because he still could turn out to be an absolutely fantastic signing. And Jose Mourinho, let's be honest, typically doesn't get centre-back signings wrong. We've got Lass Nielsen on Facebook saying Chelsea won't be selling to us again. Obviously, after Man United swooped and signed Romelu Lukaku in the summer and they got Alvaro Morata, maybe they won't be dealing with us anytime soon. We've got Gary saying Mourinho needs to look around the Premier League for good talent or give United's youth who can't get minutes a chance. We don't need David Luiz. So at the moment we've got Axel Tuanzebe at the club. You could also look at Timothy Fosu-Mensah. You could also look further and say Roshan Williams. 3 potential centre-backs who could play for Manchester United. Tuanzebe is the closest one to the first team at the moment. Fosu-Mensah on loan at Crystal Palace, but hasn't really played at centre-back whenever he did play. Played more as a right-back. Both of those are outrageously good talents. But Jose Mourinho typically doesn't really want to wait too long for players to develop. He wants somebody established and ready. But Tuanzebe played away at Spurs last year, away at Arsenal, looked very comfortable straight away. I remember Fosu-Mensah making his full Premier League debut away against Spurs at right-back, and we were fantastic with him on the pitch. He got taken off the pitch. We conceded 3 goals in about 10 minutes. Fosu Mensah does have a future at Manchester United as far as I'm concerned, and I think Tuanzebe is good enough to do it as well. Let's go back to a few more of your comments. Got George Grech saying there, what about Tuanzebe? Luiz is too old. That's what we're just talking about there. Nicholas saying, give a chance to Tuanzebe as well. Lots and lots of you want to see Axel given a big chance. Memphis Samir disagrees, said David Luiz is great. We do need players like him. You know, on his day, David Luiz is undoubtedly a world-class player. But it's whether or not you think that he could bring that to Manchester United week in, week out. And whether maybe you'd have David Luiz as a sort of alongside Nemanja Matic in midfield with maybe Paul Pogba as a number 10, or maybe you play David Luiz alongside Eric Bailly as centre-backs, or whether you think that there will be any place in that squad for David Luiz at all. We've got Tiani on Facebook saying he's good. We have injury-prone guys at centre-back. That's very true. It's always been a bit of a plague in terms of getting 2 centre-backs to play week in, week out for Manchester United. It's very difficult when injuries stop that from happening. Let's go back to the YouTube comments. Dapo King saying David Luiz doesn't bring anything to our team. I would disagree with that. And Dabo King's not happy that I'm calling David Luiz world class. I think you don't earn the moves that David Luiz has earned without being a world class player. On his day, he is world class, but he's just a bit irrational at times, a bit inconsistent at other times, and he's a bit of a flair centre back, I suppose, which is not typically what you would associate with a centre back. And I'm not saying he's an absolute world class. Mats Hummels is a world class defender. I think Luiz has world-class moments, but he's not an overall world-class player. And it's whether or not you feel that he could bring those world-class moments to Manchester United regularly under Jose Mourinho, or whether he'd just be a bit of a hothead at the club. Let's read a few more of your comments out before we wrap up the show today. Alex Angel on Facebook saying, I would sign him and he could play in a few different areas in the team. Sign him up. Remember that if he was to be signed, he could potentially bring strength and depth to our midfield options and strength and depth to our centre-back options. He's very versatile, a bit like Eric Dyer, I suppose. But let me know in the comments now, if you're looking at these 3 players, who I suppose are similar players in what they could bring to Manchester United. David Luiz, Virgil van Dijk and Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer definitely can play in a central midfield role and a centre-back role. Virgil van Dijk is more of a pure centre-back, and Luiz can play both. If Manchester United were going to sign one of those 3 players, let me know in the comment now who you would choose out of those 3 players. You could definitely see benefits to David Luiz, you could see benefits to Eric Dyer and Virgil van Dijk. All 3 of them would probably be good signings, but who would be the greatest signing for Manchester United out of those 3? We've got Nuhu watching from Dubai saying that we don't need David Luiz. What about Facebook? Let's see what you guys and girls are saying there. We've got Mal Sitali saying Luiz is a clown. He's certainly got Sancho Bob hair, just like Marouane Fellaini. And at points, he certainly is a clown. But we can all admit that on his day, David Luiz is an outrageously good player. It's just whether or not you think that he could bring that to Manchester United on a consistent enough basis. And whether that would warrant what would be a 50, 60, 70 million signing. I'm not sure. Let's see what you think about all those 3 players, Dyer, Luiz or Van Dijk. Let's head to the comments. We've got Virat Aditya saying Dyer all the time. Adam McConnell saying Virgil van Dijk, but he wants Liverpool moves, so probably not. Pratik saying Eric Dyer. Joseph Cooper and Alex Angel both agreeing on David Luiz. So does Bikram. But we've got Abhishek, we've got Saka Don, all saying Eric Dyer. Lots of different opinions there. What about on YouTube as well? We've got Steve Melmore saying David Luiz. Andy Pandy, he agrees. Shubham Sagar, he agrees. But we've got Niz Fulsang saying Eric Dyer. Most of you down here, you're saying David Luiz out of those 3. For me personally, out of those 3, it's an easy choice. Virgil van Dijk. I think in a world where there aren't that many world-class centre-backs, I think he has the capability of properly being, oh, my voice went there, properly being a world-class centre-back. And I think out of all those 3 potential signings, I would choose Virgil van Dijk. But let me know in the comments. Keep commenting below as always. Make sure you check out the Newcastle preview. We had a preview and a start 11 prediction in the same video. That is on the Facebook page and also on the YouTube channel from yesterday. If you're new on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button as always. And join us tomorrow after the Newcastle game, hopefully 3 points. And Man United can get back on track in the Premier League. Until then, take it easy.